Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Anita Newby and today I am going to be reviewing the movie Bliss. This movie was released earlier this year on Amazon Prime and it stars Owen Wilson and Salma Hayek in a sort of sci-fi drama. So this is an interesting movie to say the least, and I'm going to be giving you my thoughts about it. So just hang on and stick and stay and you will hear my review of the movie Bliss. Be forewarned, I have lots to say about this movie, okay? But before I do, I kind of want to read the description to you because it's not a movie that I was looking for. Sometimes I just decide I want to watch a movie and I don't know what it is. And so I kind of just peruse around my different streaming services and see if I can come up with something that I want to watch. And I saw this on Amazon Prime, and I thought it was interesting. So I'm going to read to you the description and kind of give you an idea of why I got hooked on it a little bit. So this says, Bliss is a mind-bending love story following Greg Owen Wilson, who after recently being divorced and then fired, meets the mysterious Isabel, Salma Hayek, a woman living on the streets and convinced that the polluted, broken world around them is just a computer simulation. Doubtful at first, Greg eventually discovers that there may be some truth to Isabel's wild conspiracy. Now listen, I'm gonna be honest, that had me hooked when I heard it because there were certain things that were triggers for me. So it said it was mind-bending, and when I think mind-bending, I think, oh, the first thought I have is like Inception, something that's really going to make me think, is going to have my intellect engaged as well as me just being entertained. You know, I love a good movie that just entertains, that's just funny, or that's just full of action, but I also love for my brain to be working. So when I saw that it said mind-bending, I was like, oh yes, sign me up and bend my mind, right? And then it said it's a love story. Always down for a good love story. I mean, this girl is a romantic at heart. So I wanted to see this mind-bending love story. You had me at hello, right? Owen Wilson is in it, who I really enjoy. And a lot of times I love to see people who generally do a lot of comedic roles in a more dramatic role. So I thought that this would be that type of transition for him because sometimes comedians are so doggone talented and we don't get to see the full range of their talent in a comedy. You know, sometimes they're just being silly, they're just being fun, they're just being entertaining, and that's all fine and good. But sometimes they have a deeper range, and so I was excited to see what Owen Wilson would bring to a dramatic role. You know, I think about, you know, comedians that have traversed that line. I think about, you know, Eddie Murphy in Dreamgirls was absolutely phenomenal. We know he can do a lot of things. I think about, you know, Will Ferrell in Stranger Than Fiction, you know, a little different take on what he normally does. He had a little bit of goofiness to him, but it was more of a dramatic type role. Adam Sandler in, I think it's called Rain on Me, but he takes a different approach, you know, even in, oh, I can't remember of the movie that he just recently released on Netflix, but when he has more of a dramatic role, a lot of times I like him in that. So I was so excited to see Owen Wilson in this. I like Salma Hayek, you know, never been bothered by her. I like her. I think she's gorgeous. I think she's entertaining. So I was excited to see them on screen together in a love story. I thought, wow, this is going to be something. I'm just excited to check this out. And when it said they may be in a computer simulation and they don't know what's going on, then my mind started going and I thought, oh, maybe it's something like The Matrix, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. Maybe it's something like that and I'm going to get that type of twist or that type of, I'm going to be involved mentally and engaged in it. All of my hopes and dreams were dashed as I was watching this movie. It's called Bliss, and when you hear the word bliss, I think of joy, I think of ecstasy, I think of euphoria, and this movie delivered the opposite for me. I mean, I just thought it was awful. I really didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it at all. There were points where I thought, oh, I'm not going to finish watching this movie because this is ridiculous, but I kept hanging in there because I thought, there has to be a twist. There has to be something that happens that is going to redeem this movie. There has to be something that happens that's going to make me say, oh, all of this was worth it because it had this clever ending, you know, or something really, really clever happened in this movie. I'm all about a movie being clever. But sometimes if a movie isn't clever and it just fails, else, it just, it just falls flat. And for me, it just fell flat. Totally. I did watch the entire film. Much to my dismay, I will never be able to get that time back. But hopefully by me sharing this with you, I can save you from wasting the time that I wasted. All right, let me kind of break some things down. I'm not going to tell you what happens in the movie, but I hope you never see it. That's my hope. That's my prayer for you. Please don't ever watch this movie. If you happen to watch it and you love it, oh, please tell me. Tell me why, because I kept thinking at the end of it, it had to be something I missed. There had to be something I blinked on and I didn't get, and it didn't connect for me. But to me, it just went wrong from very early on. At the beginning of the movie, it tells you right in the description, so I'm not giving anything away. We discover that this character, Greg, is divorced, and that he is soon, very early in the movie, going to lose his job. There was an interesting that was happening at his workplace. Like, the name of the company was very interesting. And even as he was leaving the building, they were delivering customer service over the phone. And there was something very intriguing that happened. They all kind of came in unison with the speech and the things that they were saying. And I thought, oh, this is key. This is going to come back up, and this is going to tie everything in together. And I'm holding on to that bit of information because that's a clue. No, it was not a clue. It was just a breadcrumb that led nowhere. It's like if somebody gives you breadcrumbs and you think there's going to be bread, and you get there and it's just like a block of cement. That's how I felt. You gave me breadcrumbs leading me to a block of cement. It's not even edible. I can't. Anyway, as you see, I have strong feelings about this movie. Love Owen Wilson. So excited to see him in a movie. In a drama, and wanted to see him in a love interest besides Wedding Crashers, if you can call that a romantic film, but wanted to see him in something different. And I have to say, for this to be described as a mind-bending love story, when somebody says love story, you want there to be passion, you want there to be chemistry, you want there to be an intensity between the main characters. And I have to be honest, for me, I saw none of that. Their relationship wasn't believable. There was no chemistry. There was no passion. Everything that seemed to happen on the set seemed very forced, and it did not seem natural. And I think both of them are natural entertainers and natural actors, but even on the screen, their relationship translated more of as a camaraderie or a friendship to me than a passionate love story. Even though it was clearly written to be a love story, those two together it just didn't work for me. It just didn't work for me in any way, shape, or form. So when a character makes decisions that a normal person would find challenging or unreasonable, one of the reasons that we accept they do that is because they did it for love. They went after this because they love this person so much. But when that love does not translate on the screen, it just seems like a waste. So everything that happens seems so unbelievable. And to me, the decisions that were made, the things that happened just weren't believable. I didn't believe that you loved her enough to make some of the bad decisions that you made. I didn't believe that you loved her enough to follow her blindly. I didn't believe that she loved you. I just didn't believe it. And it was very challenging for me. There was one scene in the movie, and I will give you a heads up in case you watch it. I recommend that you don't. However, if you do, I'm very intrigued about your feedback. But there was one scene in the movie that I found so ridiculous that after the scene was over, I was convinced that I did not see what I just saw. Or I was convinced that there was a point where I turned away and I missed something pivotal that I needed to see to understand the scene. So I rewound the entire scene, experienced it again, only to find that I didn't miss anything. And it was as ridiculous and as disappointing as I once thought. It was a roller skating scene. That might say it all right there. But it was a scene that happened in a roller rink. And the level of ridiculousness, the level of absurdity just began to increase and heighten to a point where I was just like, I know this just didn't happen. And this was probably, I want to say, maybe 30 minutes into the movie. So I had a decision to make at that point. I thought, this is bad. And I don't think I want to finish. I don't think I don't want to watch this. But I continued. I persevered because I was convinced that I wasn't paying attention, that I was tired, that there was something more than meets the eye. I was hoping it had some type of Transformer vibe on it. It was more than meets the eye. Oh my God, it was so much less than met my eye. I mean, there's so many things I could say about this movie. Let me say this. When I got to the end of the movie, it's supposed to be mind-bending and intriguing, and I was hoping there was some twist and some turn and something Inception-like, you know, that left me guessing. And let me say this in case you don't know. Some people always need a movie to have a nice tied up, nicely sewn together, happily ever after ending. I am not that person. I enjoy an open-ended movie like Inception. I keep bringing that up because I think mind-bending, that's what I think. I got to the end of the movie and I'm like, what? And it made me want to watch the movie again because I wasn't sure that what I thought was really what I thought and what had happened. So I was expecting something like that, you know, or a Sixth Sense type of thing, you know. Oh, now it all makes sense because this happened at the end. And that never happened. When I got to the end of the movie, I still had no idea what this movie was about. I had spent an hour and 45 minutes of my time. And let me say, I probably need to add 7 minutes to that because I rewound a ridiculous scene to watch it again. I spent all this time watching this movie thinking that there was going to be some clever M. Night Shyamalan trick at the end, and it wasn't. For me, it wasn't. And again, maybe I'm not intelligent enough to understand the depths and the intricacies of this film, but I highly doubt that is the case. It just fell totally flat. I didn't know what happened. At the end of the movie, you know, it tells you in the description, you know, he might be in a computer simulation. I'm still trying to figure out, was he in a computer simulation? Was he in an insane asylum? Was he in rehab? Was he just high? And was I just watching this dude get high for a whole movie? But what I do know at the end of the movie is that I felt like I was high. And I have never consumed any type of illicit drug, something that may bring you a high. I've never done that. So I don't even know what it feels like, but I'm quite sure that what I was experiencing at the end of that movie, it made me think I was high. I was like, what did I just watch? What did I just see? I don't understand what just happened. I feel disjointed, disconnected, discombobulated. What in the world is happening in this movie? It was just strange. It was strange, and there was no resolution. Now, there was a message in the movie. You know, a lot of movies try to bring forward a message. There was a message revolving around the title, which is bliss. There was a message about how we experience things and how we appreciate things or do not appreciate things. There was a message that came through. It was loud and clear. I don't disagree with the message, but it was just a poor way to deliver it, in my opinion. So I'm just totally baffled by this movie. I'm baffled that it was made. I'm baffled that somebody read the script, because to me, where the problems began was in the writing, was in the script, was in the conceptualization of this. And, you know, for people that write stories and write songs and write poems and write other artistic works, I'm telling you, getting another set of eyes that's not your own is so valuable. And I wish somebody else had read the script, and maybe they did, and maybe they all loved it. So maybe it's just me. You know, it could just be me, but I did not enjoy this one bit, and it brought me anything but bliss. It brought me dismay. It brought me, you know, heartache, and not because of the characters in the film, but because of the time that I lost. It just, yeah, oh my goodness, it was so challenging to me. Another thing which I like to bring up from time to time, because it's important to me as an artist, as a musician, sound editing. There were some places in the movie where I just couldn't hear well, and I know I'm at home and you can change the settings on your TV to get this type of feel, but I watch movies on the same setting all the time. And there were some places where I just lost some of the conversation, some of the dialogue. And I wonder if those missing parts were the pieces that I needed to put this jigsaw puzzle together. and maybe it was, but there were some distinct multiple times where the sound was just so imbalanced with the background noise as far as the conversation. There was just a lot of imbalance in the sound in places, not throughout the whole thing, but in places that it was noticeable enough and distracting enough. And, you know, being at home, you can rewind it. I rewound a couple of times and thought, oh, I just can't hear. And I turned it up and heard more background noise again. So it wasn't an issue on this end. It was a balance issue. Yes, I could have changed my settings on the TV. I get that. I know that. But I don't have issues when I watch other movies. So that also was a challenge for me. But this movie as a whole just fell flat. Did I like it? Absolutely not. Do I recommend it? Absolutely not. Now, I'm so curious if anybody watched this movie and if anybody loved it. I want to know what your thoughts are and if I missed something, because it's so possible. You know, and we all like what we like. So art is subjective. So you might love it and I might hate it. It is what it is. But if there's something I missed because it just didn't come together for me in terms of the plot, in terms of the character development, there was no character development. I mean, characters just showed up and I never saw any evolution. I never saw any change. I never saw any growth. I never saw any disintegration of their I never saw anything. It just didn't make any sense to me. I didn't like anybody enough to care what happened to them. That's troublesome. There were characters introduced that I felt like should have had a greater role or should have been pivotal to the plot. And they weren't. Sometimes they just disappeared and never showed up again. I mean, to me, it was just a hot boiling mess. But if you care to watch the movie to see if it's as ridiculous as I say it is, I'd love to hear your feedback. Again, I don't recommend you waste the time. If I can help you by getting you to not watch this movie and you can put your energy and your time elsewhere, that's what I want to do. But again, if you watch it and you love it and find that it was fantastic, please leave some comments here so that I can know, what did I miss? In the words of, Thomas Jefferson from Hamilton, what did I miss? I didn't know what I missed in this movie, but I will not watch it again to try to find out. So thank you for tuning in with me, and I hope this review of Bliss helped you. And if you haven't liked and subscribed and clicked on your notifications, please do so. I'm going to try to upload a movie review every Monday evening, so I want you to make sure that you are in on it. And always remember, I don't give away spoilers. I don't give away things that happen in the movie, so it's safe to watch it before you watch the movie. Again, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed my review of the movie Bliss.